talking about SEO, blogs and websites. So if you're joining us, thank you. Nice to meet you, nice to see you. We've had a few questions submitted already that I'll go through, but if you've got any questions, any comments, don't hesitate to post them. I've got Emily behind the camera. She'll look after you and I'll answer as much as I can. So today we are talking about SEO, blogs and websites and how SEO can impact your business. Also kind of some of the misconceptions around SEO, some of the things about frequency for blogs, some of the misconceptions around websites and the things you should or shouldn't be doing. And yeah, like I say, any questions, don't hesitate to hit us up in the comments. I'll answer as many as I can. And if we miss any, I'll be sure that the team answer them later on today. So, right, let's get into some questions. Jack Hasty, thanks for the question, Jack. I only have a one-page website. What can I do to help it rank in search engines? So, a one-page website, Jack. Obviously, that's relatively vague in terms of what we're talking about here. So there could be a one-page website with just a paragraph on it, or it could be a one-page website that's kind of linear and actually there's loads of content on there, loads of interesting stuff. You might have a blog on there. So it's not so much how many pages your website's got, but it's how up-to-date and relevant the content is for the people that are looking for it. So let's talk maybe like a car wash. A car wash is a typical business that might only have like a 1 or 2 page website. But in order for them to rank, they probably want to be talking about the location that they're based in, talk about the service that they offer, post some of the reviews, make sure their Google reviews are up to date. There's a lot more to do around the SEO and the ranking of that website than just keeping the website up to date. So it could be blogs, it could be keeping your Google My Business up to date, it could be making sure you've got plenty of Google reviews, it could be making sure you've got plenty of Facebook reviews, it could be making sure that lots of the relevant local directories are backlinking to that website. There's more than one way to skin a cat, for want of a better phrase. So that's where you need to be with it. It isn't just about the size of your website, it's about the quality of the things that you're doing around your website, be that reviews, be that backlinks, be that local PR, be that your social media. These are all the things that you need to be thinking about in order to get your website to rank, whether it's 1 page or 100 pages. The quality of the content on your website also matters, and the links on your website matters, and the tags on your website matters, but that's not the be all and end all. You really need to be thinking about backlinks, social media, reviews, local directories, local press and PR, and assuming you've got a 1-page website, you're probably targeting a geographical region, so then you need to think about your Google My Business listing. Have you got your map marker in the right place? Are you regularly updating your Google My Business? Are your opening times right on your Google My Business? Do you engage with the people that comment on your Google My Business? All these things that can affect your SEO that aren't just in relation to your website. Oof, that's a long answer. So yeah, Jack, if you've got a 1-page website, how do you get it to rank in search engines? Think about everything you're doing around it. So make sure the quality of the content on that website is bang on. All your images have tags, everything's been done on that actual website. But then think about who's linking to it, where they're linking from, the authority of those links, the reviews, your social media, how frequently you're doing all of those things, and you will see that that website starts to rank better. Right, James Johnson. Hi James, thanks for the question. How often do I need to blog for them to be beneficial? Right. So there's a bit of a misconception around blogs. 1 brilliant blog is better than 10 rubbish blogs. But if you only put 1 brilliant blog out a year, you're kind of pissing into the wind. So you need to think about what you're doing with your blogs and what it is that you want people to find. So one of the key tips with your blogs, I would say, is making sure that your titles engage people and make them want to open it. And the more clicks you get on that blog, the better for your search ranking overall. So the more people are engaged with your blog, the longer they spend on your page reading your blog, do they navigate to other parts of your website, all affects your search ranking. But you also need to think about the content of the blog in the context of what your business does. So to use the car wash analogy again, if you're writing a blog about your opinion on coronavirus and sticking it on your car wash website, if you can't link the two, that isn't really going to help your search ranking. So you need to think about it from the perspective of the user. The user's probably coming, I'm looking to find a car wash in Birmingham. And so your articles need to be around what you can do for cars and at your car wash in Birmingham. If you're writing about all your opinion pieces on various things and there's no link or only a tenuous link, it isn't going to help your search ranking, and that's what you need to be thinking about with your blogs. Now, from our perspective, we write 2, 3, maybe 4 blogs a week. We tell our clients to at least try and write a blog a month, but in today's age, there's really no excuse for you to not be blogging, because you should all be doing video. Hopefully some of you are considering doing podcasts. You're probably doing things like interviews and PR. Why don't you just repurpose that into a blog? Every time you do something with someone, why don't you just turn it into a blog? It's only 400 words. You can make it relevant to your business. You know, that car wash talking about coronavirus, how the impact of coronavirus meant they had to shut for 3 months and now they're open and they can't wait to polish everybody's cars. Suddenly it starts to make sense, and that's where you need to be. So hopefully that helps, James. Yeah, so how often do I need to blog for them to be beneficial? How long is a piece of string? I'd say if you're not blogging once a month, you're not blogging enough. But really, you should be, at this stage, you should be blogging once a week, and the content should be easy for you to do. And if it isn't, you're probably in the wrong business. So, Molly James, my website is stuck on page 2 of Google. Where do I start with my SEO? So a good place to start with a situation like that, I'd assess what your competitors are doing. So what are all the people ahead of you doing? So let's wind this right back. Page 2 of Google isn't really a thing anymore like it once was. It's not, I'm on page 2 of Google. If I run a sweet shop and I'm on page 2 of Google for Sweet Shop Shrewsbury, say, that's not a thing, because Google takes into account where the person is who's searching and also where the business is. So the results for you are different for the results for the next person that looks. There's lots of other factors involved. It's not the same. So you can do an incognito search and try and get a gauge of where you are in terms of search, but that's not necessarily giving you a true reflection of what would happen if Joe Bloggs searched for your website, because they would get a different set of results based on their geography and their behavior, and it's far more complicated than page 1, page 2. It's not a list anymore. However, if you know you're consistently ranking below people on an incognito search for your industry, it's worth having a look at what they're doing, and there's various tools out there that you can run that through. Codebreak's got its own software where you can check what your competitors do and see what key terms they rank for well, how often they blog, how up to date their Google My Business is, how good their map listing is, if they're paying for certain things, if they're using paid advertising. There's a lot that goes into it that you need to research to knock those people off their perch. But also make sure that everything you're doing to the best of your ability. So if someone says to you, you need to blog once a week, make sure you blog once a week. If you're not including the terms that around your business in those blogs, reconsider it. If your titles aren't eye-catching and making people want to click on your blog, make sure that they are. If your images don't draw people in and they aren't relative to your business, make sure they are. If you're just using stock photography, Google knows you're just using stock photography, so think about that from a search perspective as well, and build out from there. So yeah, my first tip would be to check what your competitors are doing and then do what they do better and do more of it. Then other things to consider: how technically proficient is your website? So run a speed check on it. Does it load quickly? If it doesn't load quickly, what are the problems with it? Can your developer help you iron those issues out? Is your hosting quick enough? Do your pages load fast enough? Are the images too big? So something that we often find with websites is people upload massive images onto their website and then wonder why their website is slow. So you can go through your website with a fine-tooth comb, have a look at all the images and downsize them, and there's plugins and software that can do that for you as well. So there's all these different things to consider to optimize your website against your competitors and try and outrank them. Then you need to think about who's linking to your website. So how much authority do they have? So we had a client once that did something, and BBC Good Food ended up linking back to their website, and the effect that had on their website was huge, because all of those people wanted to jump over, watch the recipe, and it really had a positive impact on their website, partly because of the authority of BBC Good Food and how much traffic that can generate and how well respected that is in terms of Google and in general, and also because their website was well built. So a high authority domain was taking traffic from one website to another that, from the search engine's perspective, was also a well built website. There was nothing to not trust about it, so that should make sense. So if you look at it like that, you can really start to impact the rankings if you can get the right sort of people to link to you. Then another thing you could be doing is your social media. So how often are you linking to your website from your social media? And are you doing it in a way that helps inform people? So you're not just trying to sell to them all the time.
Hi, Joel and Andy here. Thanks for listening to our podcast. We're loving sharing our marketing tips with you.
If you'd like to kickstart your marketing, why not jump on a discovery call? Simply visit codebreak.co.uk and apply there. Hopefully speak to you soon.
Take care.
Now, the search engines are smart enough to know if people are linking through and clicking through to your website, if they're spending time on your website, or if they get there and just jump straight off, do they bounce? And that's the kind of thing you need to be thinking about with your social media output. Are you just selling at people, or are you providing information? Are you helping them? Are you an asset to your industry, and therefore should Google be serving you before others? Guess tech on this one. Thanks, Molly. That was a good question. All right, Nathaniel, which SEO tips would you recommend starting with? Right. So I would recommend for any website that you go through with a fine-tooth comb. Make sure that your grammar's all spot on. Make sure your sentences are short, because anything that's difficult to read is seen by the search engines as such, and therefore people are less likely to stay on the website because it's complex. Make sure your images are tagged and they're of a sensible file size. Make sure that your pages load quickly. These are all the little checks that you can do that are really important before you start worrying about the big stuff. So content's good, easy to read. Images aren't huge and don't slow your website down. Website's easy to navigate, easy to follow through as a user. If you need to get to another part of the website, that's easy to do. So things like sticky menus, where it's easy to get to any part of the website. But also think about usability. And then if you exhaust all of those avenues, that's when you speak to your developer and say, well, there's nothing we're doing that's slowing our website down, or there's nothing we're doing that means our website shouldn't rank. So what's going wrong technically? What can we do here? Who can we backlink to? What journalists can we reach out to? And you can really go much further with it. But tip number one is to make sure you've got all the basics right, and that you're regularly updating the content, be that blogs, case studies, whatever that might be, testimonials. It depends on your industry. Through that one, Nathaniel. Albie Joyce. How do I determine my keywords and where should I use them? Right, so once upon a time, people thought if you stuffed a website with keywords, you would rank, and that was kind of true once. And then people got really clever and thought they'd put loads of white keywords on the page, on a white page, so they were hidden, and they'd still rank. And Google got wise to that quite quickly, and the other search engines too, and that's just not the case anymore. So what you need to think about is, who's your website for and what are your keywords? So in our instance, we're a marketing agency. So one of our keywords or phrases is obviously marketing agency. Or if you're a car wash, one of your keywords or phrases would be car wash, but then it might be your geographical specific. So it could be car wash Shrewsbury. So you need to be really sensible about what you're trying to target. The best thing you can do for ranking is to find your niche. And so what do you do that your competitors don't do? And make sure you're ranking for that. So say you're a solicitor, it might be that you do a specific type of law that other solicitors in the local area don't cover. So that could be one of the first things that you try and rank for really high on the search engines, because it makes sense to target that, because your competitors won't be competing with you for it, and you're an expert in it, so you're able to blog about it and go into depth that other people locally won't be able to do. Other examples of that might be in terms of like small electrical sales shops versus say Currys, where they've got the expertise in-house, so it doesn't matter what kind of installation you want, you know that you can compete with the big boys because you can provide that personalised service. So then you go into depth about how you can come and install it, hold people's hand through the process, and provide much better, much more helpful content than some of the bigger companies can, because essentially they're having to train people en masse, you're providing the personalised service. So that's how you can kind of go head to head with them. I'm just trying to think of some more examples for you really, Albie. So maybe you're an author and the topic you're writing about, lots of people have written about, but you're writing about it from a different perspective. So your keywords and phrases would include whatever that perspective is. So it may be, I don't know, it could be coronavirus fact or fiction, and you're going in depth about things from a different angle to what anyone else has done, and you want to rank for those keywords and phrases because chances are your audience are the same people who are searching the terms that your book includes, and that's kind of where you go. Or if you're more general, say, I don't know, you're a painter and decorator in Shrewsbury, and obviously there's lots of painters and decorators in Shrewsbury, then you want to make sure that you've got all the keywords that your competitors have got, as long as they're sensible, and that your content is written in a way that includes those keywords, but in a way that's useful to the user. So you don't just stuff it full of crap keywords. You be really, really sensible. You use keywords in a way that's human readable, and you make sure that your keywords and key phrases are included in any tags on your images, as long as those images refer to that point. If you've got a picture of a bucket and you're trying to tell people it's a pint glass, the search engines know. So you need to be sensible with your words and your phrases. Equally, if you think you can start a business tomorrow and knock a business that's been established for 10 years off its perch on the search engines, you're having a laugh. Not going to happen. You need to think about what you do that they don't do, how you're going to rank for certain phrases, what articles you can write that they couldn't write, what PR you can do that they can't do, what backlinks you can get that they couldn't get. And that's where you need to be. So hopefully that kind of gives you a good overall picture of how you should be using your keywords and phrases, but also how you can use SEO in a smart way. So, through the questions we've had from before, so just to give you an idea of what we do at Codebreak, so we have our own SEO software here, and we'll upload any URL to that software, and we'll also upload their competitors to that software, and it analyzes the website, but it also analyzes their competitors' website, and it gives you a list of actions that you need to complete in any given time period. So we can tell our software, right, we want to do 4 hours a week of SEO on the Codebreak website, and it will tell us what pages need improvements, what images are too large, what content isn't quite hitting the mark, where we should be backlinking, where we could probably do some journalist outreach. And it will also tell us what our competitors are doing better than us. It will tell us things like where our page speeds aren't as good as they should be. It will tell us if pages are caching and therefore load quickly on the second time. All these different things that we can assess, and it's a never-ending task. You have to remember that with digital, other people can kind of hop in and start doing things, and if they start doing it better than you, you need to up your game. So with SEO, it's about constantly improving, constantly evolving your content to help your business, to make sure that you stay near the top. So in our case, one of the ways we do that that's available to anyone is we blog a lot, we do a lot of video, we do a podcast. So there's all these different things where we're generating content that can then link back to our website or be hosted on our website and help improve our search ranking. And then on top of that, we're doing all that technical stuff in the background with our software to make sure we're staying ahead of the game. And we're also doing that for our clients too. So we've got some clients that blog once a week, we've got some clients that blog once a month, we've got some clients that blog less often than that. But we can also run our software on their websites and help them improve their search ranking, help them take on their competitors, help them consider some of the factors. And it might be that you've hosted your website somewhere for years and it's always been great, but then they've dropped the ball and that hosting's just not running as well as it used to, or the bandwidth's not good enough because your business has grown so much. And that's the kind of thing our software can pick up. They're the kind of things we can help you with. And that's what we do. So you need to see SEO as kind of, it's not witchcraft, it's all practical, it's all approachable, but it's something you always have to be on top on. It doesn't go away, you can't complete it. It's an ever evolving, it's a moving target, and you're constantly chasing that target. So if someone starts doing more content than you, that's more relevant and better than yours, and their website loads quicker and their images are more relevant to the audience, chances are they might overtake you at some point, so you need to react. And that's where you should be with your SEO at any given point. Hope that makes sense. So yeah, if you've got any questions about SEO, or you're unsure about your blog or your website or where you want to be, don't hesitate to get in touch with us. We'd love to host you on a discovery call. Obviously, listen to our other content too. You can listen to us on our Break It Down podcast. We're launching a new podcast this week. Obviously, loads of blogs on our website, literally hundreds, and loads about this topic. So if you're ever unsure, give us a nudge and we'll happily point you in the right direction. And yeah, I'll catch you again for another Facebook Live. All right, take care everyone. Bye now.